This little generator has come a long way. $25 estate fine. I'm going to throw the parts receipt up. If you'll notice, zero charge for all the parts. Basically, pole starter, air filter, carburetor, brushes for the engine, some other miscellaneous stuff. But overall, the total cost of this thing was 25 bucks. And I think it's come a long way. Morning all, Larry BL here, and this will probably be the last day to mess around with the generator set. Yeah, my yard's starting to get out of control, so tomorrow is dedicated to yard work. Anyhow, just wanted to go over a couple things. The last week or so of me playing with this, I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about the meters I have, and just want to go over and touch a couple points. So this is labeled 4,000 starting watts, 3,500 rating watts. Now what that means is if you've got a power tool like this, when you first kick it on, it takes more power for it to get started than to keep it running. So that's why you have a higher starting wattage than a regular running wattage. The other thing is with heaters, they don't have a startup. They just basically, they're a static load. So what I found was this outlet is rated at 15 amps. This is an RV outlet and it's rated at 30 amps. So this is the one we're going to use today. So I went to the store and I got me a plug and I put me a 25 amp on the end of it so we can plug this guy straight into here. Okay, this one is just plugged up over here for my meter measurements. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug these two heaters in, and they are both rated at 1,500 watts. So with both of them going full blast, it should give me 3,000 watts, which is 500 watts less than the rated, but that should give me a good enough load to really fine-tune this generator in, because ultimately I want to be able to plug this welder in and be able to use it off of that generator. So over here on this table, what we have is we've got a meter hooked up to the engine RPM, and I'll clean these off. We have another meter hooked up to monitor the generator voltage, which should be around 120 volts. And then we got a meter hooked up to measure the frequency, which should be around 60 hertz in frequency. And that should be under no load and full load conditions. And I've got the tripod set up so when I put you on there, hopefully the glare, you'll be able to see what's going on. I will probably have to do voiceovers in this, but at least you'll be able to see what's going on with the meters. All right, we're warmed up. I'm trying to get an angle so you can see. 1870, 118 volts, 62 hertz. We're going to go ahead and throw 3,000 watts on it. Okay, so I was able to get it to 60 hertz under a full load. But when I took the load off, the lowest I could get it was 63 hertz. And I've actually got the screw backed almost all the way out. So what I think it is this spring has a couple different adjustments on it. So I may move that spring one way or the other to see if that affects the no load adjustment. Let me get back with you. All right, best I could do. Full load, 60 hertz, 118, 1810 RPM. No load, 63, 64 hertz, 1910, 118. I explained after I shut it off. So I went in, pulled up my archives, and I did have one spring that was in the wrong position, so I relocated it. So this is the throttle stop on the carburetor, and when I push it back with my finger, the engine would drop down to a real low RPM. So what I did was I held that against this screw, and then I adjusted it at no load, and I adjusted that screw to where I got 60 hertz. But then when I let go of this, it bumps back up a little bit to like 63, 64 hertz. So under no load, it's running a little high, but under full load, it's right at 60 hertz. So I believe that may be the correct way to set it. The book doesn't say anything about it. Well, I'm going to have to rearrange my meters for the next test because the sun is affecting this one. Let me bring it in the shop. It was solid black, and I brought it in a little while ago. Okay, for the grand finale, I moved meters around, so hopefully, because I want to be able to see them too. That should work right about there. Still got some glare on that one. I might set something there. Get rid of the glare. Not a lot. That should work. Okay, so because I want to see these also, but I'm not going to be able to. So I looked around for some stuff that needed welding, and the only thing I could really find is my wife's little planter. It needs the leg tack back on, so I'm just going to run some beads on the Calico trailer. We've got the welder plugged in to my fabricated 30 amp plug, and we're doing all our measurements over there, so make sure that's on, and let's try some welds. So before you all go hollering at me, I got pants and shoes on. I've got a long sleeve shirt, and I got my welding helmet ready. So I'll get you set up and get the meters turned on, and we'll give this a try. Okay, I'm going to run some beads on the trailer first just to see how the welder's going to act, and then before I do the tack weld. So let's get this thing started. So what did I learn about this little Chinese welder? Well, the minimum is the low setting, and the maximum is the high setting. I tried maximum. I know my meters weren't set right, but it tripped both of these 15 amp breakers. I maybe made a 1/2 inch of a weld. So I went back, and most of the other videos on minimum, and I'm not sure, but I think this is the feed speed 1 and 2. I've got this all the way turned down, and it still seems like it's feeding the wire too fast. Yeah, what do you expect for a Chinese welder? Welds don't look good, actually horrible. I did get the little deer fixed. I'm going to clean that up and then throw some paint on it. But yeah, I got to go review the meter settings, and yeah, cut the fuel off so it's ready to go into storage. But I guess for general purposes on the low setting, I can do a little bit of welding with this. Okay, so I went back and reviewed the videos. So when I switched the welder from the minimum setting to the maximum setting, definitely heard the generator hunker down a lot harder. Unfortunately, I didn't have this meter set the frequency, but I know it dropped, and I got maybe a 1/2 inch weld, and it tripped both 15 amp breakers. So definitely the generator can't handle that little welder on the high setting, but on the low setting, seemed to work just fine. Stayed at 60 hertz. Yeah, I made a bunch of mess on the trailer there, but it was more for a test, and I think it was a successful test. I know I can do low power welding with that, but if I want a better welder and be able to use the generator, yeah, we're going to have to upgrade the generator. But for now, I can do little welds with this guy. Seems to work just fine. Thanks for watching.